Hi everyone, this is Crypto Garage, and today we will be talking about discrete log contracts and how you're able to do financial contract transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. I'm Justin. I'm the Chief Crypto Finance Officer at Crypto Garage, and I have two of my colleagues in this session as well. Thibaut?
Hi, yeah, my name is Thibaut. I'm the tech lead for the project called Peer-to-Peer Derivatives, which is like mainly using discrete log contracts, developing application around that.
Ichiro? You're on mute.
I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Ichiro. I'm researching about the DLC and Lightning Network at the Crypto Garage.
Okay, so before we talk about discrete log contract, we'd like to give you a brief intro about Crypto Garage. Crypto Garage, architecting crypto finance. Crypto Garage is established as a joint venture between three companies: Digital Garage, the Tokyo Tanshi, and Blockstream. We integrate highly specialized fields of both financial engineering and the blockchain technology. With blockchain technology, we aim to create a P2P financial platform that minimizes counterparty risk. Blockchain is not here to replace the existing technology, system, and architecture of financial institutions and financial services. It is a worldwide architecture. Under a new network such as Bitcoin, sidechain, and the Lightning Network, advancements in smart contract and cryptography technologies will accelerate the time for establishing a new financial architecture. Crypto Garage will take the lead in this new financial architecture by creating crypto finance products such as P2P-based forward contracts, derivatives, and security-backed contracts. So yeah, at Crypto Garage, we are here to create crypto finance products. And one of the crypto finance products we are working on is based on the discrete log contract protocol. Before we get into the product that we are working on, let me walk you through what discrete log contract is. So in the discrete log contract, in the white paper for discrete log contract called DLC, DLCs enable the creation of monetary contracts directly on the Bitcoin blockchain, using an oracle to determine its outcome and without having to reveal the existence of the contract to the oracle. As with any regular contract, parties first need to agree on the terms, such as the different payouts based on different outcomes. Then they pre-commit the collateral for the contract in the Bitcoin transaction and broadcast to the blockchain. So in this animation, you can see how both counterparty A and B are locking their collateral onto the blockchain. And once the collateral is locked, at maturity, the oracle publishes the outcome of for the contract, and both parties can unilaterally redeem their payout based on the value of the oracle. This process is the idea of this process is you minimize the trust of the other counterparty, and you do not need to lock your collateral through a kind of third-party custodian. So from the concepts of DLC, we apply the ideas of financial engineering with the goal of creating a trust minimized financial derivative. And the first type of derivative we focused on was a forward contract we executed with Blockstream. So with the derivative that we worked with Blockstream, it was a forward contract. And a forward contract is an agreement to buy or sell an asset at a predetermined price at a specific time in the future. And then at maturity, there are no bounds to the profits or loss of the counterparties for the counterparties of this contract. And this is an illustration of the profit and loss of the counterparty. Forward contracts are used for a practical purpose by customers like mining pools as a hedge against volatility risk of holding large amount of BTCs on their balance sheet. Forward contracts are typically unsecured by any collateral, so it requires some kind of collateral management arrangement by both parties. This approach relies on the mutual trust between the two parties engaged in the contract. The absence of any collateral means that each party is at risk of the other failing to deliver upon the completion of the contract. So for the derivative to work under the DLC framework, both parties need to post collateral upfront, where the maximum profit and loss of each counterparty is predefined in the payoff. So at CryptoGarage, what we did was we redesigned the forward contract to be a collared forward, where there is a maximum and minimum to the payoff of the contract. And then we applied the concepts of DLC and allowed Bitcoin collateral to be posted by both parties and locked in a 2 of 2 multi-sig contract until its maturity date. And at the maturity date, based on the price published by the Oracle, we use the Oracle's price feed and the signatures of the participants to distribute the payout of the contract. We did this transaction in April of 2019. We were able to prove successfully that this trade works. The payoffs were both confirmed by Blockstream and by ourselves, and anyone can also confirm our transaction on the blockchain Explorer. From our first deal on doing this, this trade led us to our second deal in September 2019 with Skew, a crypto derivative data platform. And what we did was with Skew was enter into a S&P 500 derivative contract that is settled in Bitcoin using the DLC protocol. This is the summary of the terms of the contract. Rather than going into the details of the contract, I'd like to explain to you the motivation on why we did this contract. So to step back, usually, very well established, financial contracts are typically traded in the local currency. So, for example, the U.S. Equity, U.S. stock, S&P 500 index is typically traded in U.S. dollars. There can be cases where an investor, would like to get exposure to the S&P 500, but due to regional restrictions, they may not have access to U.S. dollar account. On the other hand, for Bitcoin investors, there are no regional restrictions, and but the current product offering to invest in, an S&P 500 in using Bitcoin is not very common. So we wanted to illustrate with this transaction with Skew that you can engineer a BTC settled contract on one of the most commonly traded derivatives in traditional finance, which is the S&P 500 option. And our intent was to, from this transaction, is to draw interest from BTC investors in conducting, derivative trades on other traditional asset classes, such as, crude oil derivative, that is settled in Bitcoin. From the lessons that we learned from 2019, right now at Crypto Garage, what we're working on is a application, an MVP, minimal viable product application based on DLC called P2P derivatives that enables trust minimized derivative transactions between two parties. We expect to release this MVP app sometime this month in May. And with the MVP app, we hope to stir interest for further development and usage of DLCs and P2P crypto finance products. Now, I'd like to kind of pass the baton to Thibaut, who's been the project lead for the MVP app, and I think he can kind of explain more further details on what he's working on.
All right, thanks. Yeah, so, well, as Justin mentioned, we're going to release MVP application within this month. But already now what we released is some kind of like library to enable like developers to implement some applications that use DLC. So yeah, our thinking is that in order to be successful, like DLC, has to become a bit more popular among developers first, so that the more applications will be out there using DLC, the more likely it is to succeed. And so in order to help other people, we developed this library called Crypto Finance Development Kit for DLC. The name comes from another library that we developed in Crypto Garage called Crypto Finance Development Kit, which is basically like a library helping developing applications for Bitcoin. So yeah, the goals, as I mentioned, is to facilitate the development of application. And another goal of ours was to, target as many developer community as possible. So, many different programming languages. In order to do that, we chose to implement the library in C++. So the base layer is basically C++. And here you have like the link to the repositories where there are some examples on how to use it. So if you're into C++ or if you have some applications into C++ where you want to integrate DLC, you can look into that or just play with it, just to see how it works. Then for our MVP actually, which is using Node.js, we implemented some bindings. And you can also, you have the link here, you can also have a look at it. There are some examples. And also we put together a tutorial so that you can follow to implement a small application. And I'm just going to show you what you can actually do with this application. So here it's like I mean, of course, it's like not a real world application. It's just like some small toy example to demonstrate how it can work, but this is just like a command line tool that you can use to create a DLC with a Bitcoin node in reg test running behind. So here you have like Alice and Bob, they each have like some Bitcoins, and they want to establish a DLC. So first Alice can choose like some parameters for the DLC. So they choose the collateral, so one BTC each, and then they choose like the maturity date. Then you can select like the refund time. So the refund time is like in case the Oracle doesn't publish the signature, like when will you be able to recover your collateral. Then you have some CSV delay in case one of the parties tries to cheat. So here we put it a bit too short probably, but it doesn't really matter. Some fee rates. And then, for example, let's say we are betting on whether like the halving is going to be bullish or bearish. So we can say like, okay, one of the parties is going to say is going to be bullish. And if that's right, it's going to get 2 BTC, the other one is going to get 0, and then the other one is going to say bearish, and the outcome is going to be the opposite. So now Bob receives that, he can look at it, and he thinks, okay, I think that's something I agree. I want to enter into this contract, so he accepts. And then in the background, like all the transactions are going to get created. They're going to exchange signatures. And Bob is going to broadcast the transaction on the Bitcoin network. In this case, it's just Rectus, but in a real application, it would be on the Bitcoin network. So now we also play the role of the oracle. So we're going to say, of course, the halving is going to be bullish. And so now that we chose the outcome, we can actually decide like how we want to close the contract. So we can, like, both parties can either collaborate to close the contract, or they can try to close like unilaterally. So in that case, we're going to choose like collaborative, and you can see that Alice balance is increased while Bob balance is decreased. And like the trading stuff is because you need to pay some fees in order to run the contract. So let me go back to my slides if I can find them. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty much what you can do with this library. And again, if you want to see like how this application is implemented, like you can follow the tutorial. You can look at the code, and again, this binding library is really good. I think if you're developing some like client applications, like for example, if you want to use Electron. I also wanted to mention that there are other people and other companies working on this kind of tools. There is ShortBit working on the Bitcoin S implementation, who is so developing DLC things as well in Scala. And there is also some effort being done to implement something in Rust and to integrate it with Rust Lightning. So that's it from me. I'm gonna let Ichiro-san introduce about off-chain DLC.
Okay. As Thibault talked before, in addition to the development of SDK, we are researching about the future development of discrete log contracts. Actually, we Crypto Garage just made available a paper that is proposing a mechanism for updating discrete log contracts with DLC channels. We call it off-chain DLCs. And we have two motivations about the previous DLC. The first one is if two party executes discrete log contracts conceptually, they need to broadcast transactions for each contract. That requires fee and settlement time for each contract. And to solve this problem, we propose the off-chain DLC. Once each party establish a DLC channel, DLC channel means lock their funds on the blockchain. They can execute the consecutive off-chain contracts. That is quite similar to the mechanism of a Lightning Network. And the second one is we propose integrating DLC channels in the Lightning Network. By doing this, we can leverage a lot of research and development on Lightning Network for DLC. And also, we can share the funds that is locked on blockchain between DLC and Lightning, and we can rebalance between Lightning and DLC. And I will talk about the simple use cases. Let's say DLC market launch some future product with 2 weeks maturity, and Alice is a user, and she would probably be interested in renewing the contract regularly. And the existing DLC requires a broadcast of the transaction for each contract. With our proposal, once the DLC channel is established, Alice can execute the contract with off-chain transaction. So she only needs one time for broadcasting transaction. And if Alice and DLC market already has a Lightning channel, they don't need to broadcast a transaction for DLC because they can integrate the DLC channel with Lightning one. And And also, they can rebalance their deposit between the Lightning and DLC. And here is the references. And actually, we have started discussion about off-chain DLC on Lightning the mailing list. And also, we created an open channel for DLC discussion on LDK Slack. Also, we are working on DLC specification with great developers. Sharebit is also contributing this specification. If anyone has interest about it, please let me know. Let us know. Please join. Yeah, that's it. So I will pass the baton to Justin.
So yeah, just to kind of recap our session. With DLCs, what's possible is that you could do a financial contract transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain. That said, DLC is still a relatively new protocol, and there's ample opportunity to standardize. As Ichiro mentioned, Sharebit is contributing to the specifications. As Tipo mentioned, we are expected to do a SDK release of P2P derivatives, and we're open to feedback and areas of improvement. As I mentioned, with the MVP launch of P2P derivatives, we're looking to stir interest in the usage of DLCs and P2P derivative contracts. And lastly, there are still scaling issues with DLCs, and there's a kind of a discussion in the dev community about off-chain DLCs, about to lower transaction costs or shorten settlement times and possible integration with the Lightning Network. So this is just a brief introduction about DLCs. If you're interested, please reach out to us either through our Twitter or our GitHub page. All right, that's it for us. Thanks for your time, and yeah, let's hope it's a bullish outcome for Bitcoin halving. Thanks, guys.
BitRiver is one of the world's leading enterprises providing mining equipment hosting and maintenance services within its own data center. Our data center, with its total capacity of 100 megawatts, is able to accommodate approximately up to 67,000 devices and is located in the city of Bratsk, Irkutsk region of Russia. We have chosen the Irkutsk region for the BitRiver data center due to its low electricity costs and its cold climate. The fact Irkutsk region is one of the best regions in the world for mining operations. We have established our data center some 5 kilometers away from Bratsk hydropower plant. The Bratsk hydropower plant works steadily regardless of the season. It supplies electricity to the region in excess. Happily advise you on any inquiry to become your trusted partner.